Making headlines this hour, President Dr. Muiz appoints Fatmat Diana as the Maldives ambassador to the Kingdom of Belgium and European Union. The Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Abdullah Muttalib, announces that work is progressing to complete the water and sewerage systems on Ba Atoll, Kihadu and Kudarikilu by October of next year. And Hina Walid, the Minister of Arts, Culture and Heritage, says significant work can be done to commemorate the memories of national struggles through competitions such as art and photography. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Fatmat Zaina Rifat. And now for the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz appoints Fatmat Diana as the Maldives ambassador to the Kingdom of Belgium and the European Union. The President presented Diana with her letter of appointment during a ceremony held at the President's office. Diana holds a Bachelor of Laws from the University of Tasmania in Australia, a Master of Laws in Law and Political Science from Osaka University in Japan, and a Master of Laws in International Human Rights Law from the University of Leicester in the United Kingdom. She has held several senior positions in government and international organizations throughout her career. These include serving as Secretary General of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC, Minister of Gender, Family and Human Rights, Attorney General of the Maldives, and a member of the Parliament and a member of the People's Special Parliament. Her appointment reinforces Maldives' continued commitment towards diplomatic engagement with European institutions and bilateral partners in Belgium. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz appoints Ahmed Mamdoud as the Vice President of the Employment Tribunal. Ahmed Mamdoud took the oath of office. Ahmed Mamdoud took the oath of office during a special ceremony held at the President's office. The oath was administered by Supreme Court Justice Aisha Shujoon Mohammed. Mamdoud holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Kelaniya in Sri Lanka. He has previously served as Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Economic Development and as Deputy Managing Director and Acting Managing Director of the Road Development Corporation, RDC. Most recently, he worked as a consultant on several projects undertaken by the Mali City Council. The Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Abdullah Muttalib, announces that work is progressing to complete the water and sewerage systems on Ba Atoll, Kihadu and Kudarikilu by October of next year. During the Parliament sitting on 3rd August, Kendu MP Maruf Zakir pressed the government for a timeline on when residents could receive the essential services. Minister Muttalib explained that the project was initially awarded to Fenaka Corporation Limited under the former MDP administration on 29 December 2021, with a contract value of $2.6 million. Although Fenaka reached about 16% completion, work stalled completely thereafter. The minister said Fenaka cited an inability to continue after subcontracting the work at a progress. The agreement with Fenaka was terminated and the contracts were reassigned to the Malay Water and Sewerage Company, MWSC. Physical work has now resumed, with roughly 10% of the overall project completed on each island. The ongoing activities include the installation of reverse osmosis plants and the construction of storage tanks. The minister added that despite Fenaka having been awarded the water and sewerage projects on 20 islands across the atolls, the state-owned company lacked the requisite experience, and even when subcontractors were brought in immediately after award, they were often inexperienced as well. He assured the public that the current administration is committed to delivering reliable water and sewerage services to all islands within its term, with Kihadu and Kudarikilu works slated for completion by October next year. The Minister of Education, Higher Education and Skills Development, Dr. Ismail Shafiu, reveals that one of the government's foremost objectives is to foster a patriotic, united and happy community across the Maldives. Speaking as a guest of honor at the award ceremony for Independence Day Art and Photography competition, jointly organized by the Ministry of Arts, Culture and Heritage and the National Center for Arts, Minister Ismail Shafiu emphasized the pivotal role such events play in nurturing national pride among students. Reflecting on the artwork and photographs on display, the minister said that by commemorating the heroes who secured Maldives' independence, the government is instilling a sense of duty and reverence that is essential for building a cohesive society. Minister Ismail Shafiu highlighted recent governmental initiatives aimed at honoring public servants and revitalizing the national spirit, urging students to emulate the sacrifices of their forebears. The minister also warned against derogatory remarks concerning national heroes, appealing to schools, parents, and the wider public to protect the legacy of those who fought for the country's freedom. He called for educational programs that teach students about the noble service and sacrifices of Maldivian patriots, ensuring that the spirit of independence endures for future generations. Hina Walid, the Minister of Arts, Culture and Heritage, says significant work can be done to commemorate the memories of national struggles through competitions such as art and photography. The minister spoke at a ceremony held to announce the results of a competition organized jointly with the National Center for the Arts on Independence Day. The primary objective of such contests, Minister Hina explained, is to revive the meaning of freedom and recall the culture, heritage, and ancestral sacrifices of the Maldives. Noting strong public enthusiasm, she announced plans to expand the event next year with enhanced prizes. The art competition was structured across 3 age brackets, ages 10 to 15, 16 to 20, and 21 and above. A total of 74 drawings were submitted, comprising 31 entries in the youngest group, 28 in the middle, and 15 in the senior tier. Participation in the photography contest was open to individuals aged 16 and older, drawing 90 entrants. The top 3 victors in both categories received certificates and cash awards of $648.51 for first place, $389.11 for second, and $194.55 for third. The top 10 drawings from each category and 10 photographs were displayed in an exhibition. Official sector statistics from the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation shows 900,000 of the tourists who have visited the Maldives so far this year spent their vacations at resort properties, representing 73% of total tourist arrivals. According to the latest figures released by the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation, total tourist arrivals in the Maldives have reached 1.2 million for the year to date, with the island nation currently welcoming an average of 5,924 visitors each day. Official data from the ministry indicates resorts remain the primary accommodation choice among incoming international travelers, with 902,228 tourists opting for resort stays. The statistics demonstrate the country currently maintains 179 operational resorts, which collectively account for 67% of the nation's total operational tourist bed capacity. The data further shows across the broader hospitality sector, resort properties led total guest stays with 902,228 holidaymakers, followed by local guest houses, which hosted 277,894 visitors during the same reporting period. Hotels accommodated 29,401 tourists during the same time frame, while safari vessels recorded 23,503 guests across the sector. During the recently concluded month of July, overall tourist arrivals reached 184,735, while the monthly figure reflects a notable 46% surge compared with the arrival numbers recorded in June of this year. It marks a 1.9% decline when measured against official sector arrival figures recorded during the corresponding period last year. The Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, and State Electric Company Limited, Stelco, signs a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to strengthen efforts to prevent corruption and promote integrity. The agreement was signed on behalf of the ACC by its president Adam Shamil and on behalf of Stelco by its managing director Dr. Ali Aswar. The ACC said the MOU establishes a framework for the two institutions to work together in preventing corruption practices within state-owned enterprises and enhancing integrity. It aims to identify areas of cooperation and implement joint initiatives through a structured approach. Under the agreement, employees of both institutions will be given opportunities to participate in training programs. The ACC's technical advice and guidance on preventing corruption will also be incorporated into Stelco's operations. The ACC said it will also provide the technical support required for workshops and seminars organized to strengthen integrity among Stelco employees. Under the MOU, Stelco has agreed to provide the ACC with important documents and information required for investigations as quickly as possible and to fully cooperate in making employees available when needed for investigations. The agreement also requires Stelco to establish robust anti-corruption policies and to give due consideration to the ACC's advice and guidance in reducing corruption risks when developing the company's policies. The ACC said the MOU will also facilitate the exchange of technical expertise between the two institutions, enabling them to share resources and strengthen joint efforts to combat corruption. Both parties expressed confidence that the partnership would reinforce anti-corruption initiatives. Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company Limited, MIFCO, says pays fishermen $3.22 million in July this year, a 339% increase compared to $732,815 in June. The number of fishing vessels supplying MIFCO increased significantly, up from 517 vessels in June to 822 vessels in July. This is an increase of 59%. Fish purchases by MIFCO also rose sharply, with 2,474 tons purchased in July. This is a 335.5% increase from 568 tons in June. July purchase details are as follows. For skipjack tuna, payout was made to 539 vessels for 2,400 tons, valued at $3.1 million. For yellowfin tuna over 10 kilograms, payout was made for 98 vessels for 1.7 tons, valued at $15,180. For yellowfin tuna over 15 kilograms, payout was made to 185 vessels, valued at $97,230. Although fishermen previously faced payment delays, the issue has now been resolved, with fishermen being paid within 48 hours of delivering fish. Support measures implemented by the government include improved fish purchase prices and subsidized fuel available nationwide. The government considers fisheries a key sector and aims to further expand it into one of the country's largest income-generating industries. Oil prices tumbles for US dollars a barrel after US President Donald Trump held off a fresh attack on Iran, seeking to reach a quick deal that would halt Tehran's nuclear ambitions and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude futures slid 4.08 US dollars or 4.64% to $83.85 US dollars, while US West Texas Intermediate crude was at $80.66 US dollars a barrel, down 4.01 US dollars or 4.74%. Both contracts jumped more than 20% last month after fighting between the US and Iran resumed, and as attacks on several tankers around Oman heightened security concerns, deterring ships from entering the Gulf to load oil. In a sign of de-escalation, Trump said late on Sunday on his Truth Social platform that Iran and other Middle Eastern countries had asked for time to complete a deal that would lead to the immediate, complete and total reopening of the vital strait and an end to Iran's nuclear threat.
The gas will go down. As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it. It's all over the place, sitting all over the oceans of the world. And it'll go down. But what won't happen is if Iran had a nuclear weapon and used it, then the whole world is a different place.
What about
You're not going to have to pay a little bit more for gasoline. The gasoline, the oil will go down rapidly as soon as the war is over.
Shipping data showed 2 tankers laden with Saudi oil crossed the Bab el Mandeb Strait out of the Red Sea over the weekend, while traffic in the Strait of Hormuz slowed following reports of vessel attacks. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations has reported 3 more tanker attacks since Saturday. On Sunday, OPEC Plus approved an oil production quota increase of around 188,000 barrels per day from September, the producer group said, in a move that completes the unwinding of a layer of voluntary output cuts due to export disruptions from the Gulf, Russia, and Kazakhstan caused by the Iran and Ukraine wars. Successive monthly OPEC Plus hikes over most of this year have remained largely on paper with little impact on the market. President Donald Trump says the U.S. held off on a fresh attack on Iran for a deal to halt Iran's nuclear ambitions and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's official news agency, IRNA, reported that negotiations between Tehran and Oman over the Strait of Hormuz were in their final stage, citing Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Trump has repeatedly issued threats that he would escalate the war on Iran he launched along with Israel in late February, only to allow more time for talks which have so far not led to a comprehensive deal.
I was asked to by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, and by Qatar, and by Iran. We were all set to go just about at this time right now, and it would have been a massive attack. We're all set to go. But when the allies ask to call it off, you got to sort of say, well, let's see. And the reason they asked is I think there's a deal. There's a deal on Hormuz, and then there will be a deal on the nuclear, or you might call it the denuclearization of Iran. I call it the denuclearization of Iran.
Trump's apparent de-escalation after days of threats of new attacks from each side was the latest twist in the war. Attacks have spread across the Gulf to the Red Sea and even a Mediterranean facility in Egypt. Iran has largely closed the Strait of Hormuz, a conduit for 20% of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas before the start of the war, causing energy prices to rise and stoking broader inflation. Cuba's state-owned grid operator said electricity grid collapsed, plunging the island of about 10 million people into darkness as blackouts become more frequent. Footage shot in Havana on August 3rd showed streets shrouded in darkness, with residents gathered on the steps of the University of Havana and others using a torchlight to fill water tanks. Havana resident Daimel Rodriguez said he had grown accustomed to sleeping without electricity and that the situation had become unbearable, adding that his only wish was to leave the country. The outage follows 3 nationwide blackouts in July and comes as a U.S.-imposed oil blockade further strains the island's aging energy infrastructure. The Union Electrica de Cuba gave no further details of the situation in its post on X and Facebook. Pressure on the power system has mounted as Cuba struggles to secure fuel imports. Jose Caballero's 2-run homer 5-2-3 innings of 1-run ball from starting pitcher Gerrit Cole leads the visiting New York Yankees to a 2-1 win over the Chicago Cubs. Cole worked around 4 hits and 3 walks, striking out 5 as New York took the third and decisive game of the weekend series. The Yankees won 2-0 on Friday before dropping Saturday's matchup 5-2. Caballero's 11th homer of the season hit off Cubs starter Colin Rea in the 3rd inning was all New York needed to offensively secure the win. Rea struck out 11 and allowed just 4 base runners in 6+ innings, but he was the hard luck loser as Chicago offense went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. 5 of those strikeouts for Rea came against the first 6 hitters he faced, but he got into trouble in after the 3rd. After Ryan McMahon poked a leadoff single, Caballero hit a 408-foot homer to center. Michael Busch cut the lead in half with an RBI single in the 4th. His hit scored Seiya Suzuki, who led off the inning with a double that marked Chicago's only extra base hit of the game. Pete Crow Armstrong walked and Suzuki singled to start the 6th. After Cole walked Ian Happ with 2 outs to load the bases. Brent Hedrick was called upon to relieve. Hedrick got Nico Hoerner to fly out to center to end the threat. Hedrick stayed on and struck out the side in the 7th. Crow Armstrong and Bush drew walks off Paul Blackburn in the 8th, but closer David Bednar came in with 2 outs and forced Happ into an inning-ending flyout. Pedro Ramirez walked and stole second with 1 out in the 9th, but Bednar got Dansby Swanson to ground out and struck out the pitch hitter Michael Conforto to earn his 24th save. Copenhagen's famed Noma restaurant bets on a rapidly shifting seasonal menu to drive its next chapter when it reopens in the Danish capital under new leadership. Gone from the kitchen is co-founder and longtime executive head chef René Redzepi, who has promised to step back from daily operations after acknowledging past mistreatment of staff. Under Redzepi, Noma was ranked the world's best restaurant 5 times and won 3 Michelin stars.
When we open again now, next week, it's going to be with a menu that is changing all the time. So the guests who are coming at the beginning of August will have a menu that is a complete reflection of what's very, very best here in the beginning of August. And for me, like being from Denmark, it makes so much sense because I found out through, all the travels that we've done, all the different pop-ups, that what I really love is how the place where we are, like here in Denmark, things change all the time, there's always something to look forward to.
But the New York Times reported on March 7th that dozens of former employees said Redzepi inflicted physical and psychological harm, describing incidents between 2009 and 2017. Redzepi has said he did not recognize all details in the reports, but understood that his actions were harmful to people who worked with me, and apologized. Now executive chef Pablo Soto said Redzepi will now turn his attention to creative projects involving insect, fungi, and technology, with an eye to shaping future Noma menus, but will step away from day-to-day decision-making. Soto now runs Noma with CEO Annika de las Heras and Mette Brink Serberg, head of research and development, who said there had been no staff resignation or complaints over mistreatment in the past year.
I think for sure he will stay continuously in contact with us and with all the upper management of the restaurant, of the company, to make sure that we continue to steer the restaurant in the right direction. But the big change is more given trust into taking those decisions.
Serberg said the restaurant industry has for too long prioritized food, service, and guests over how staff are treated. She said Noma had for several years worked to improve this, including by reducing working hours, which she said had previously left staff under stress and prone to mistakes. Chefs have spent recent weeks testing dishes for the new menu. The new Noma will run on 12 micro-seasons, with the menu changing continuously based on whatever ingredients are in the season. The set menu will cost $990 per person, including wine pairing, Noma said on its website. And that's all the news we have for you today. Thank you for watching PSM News.